Hey, what's happening guys? Aaron Luttrull here with the Aaron Advantage. Last week I made a video about some of the general questions I get about selling a home, and I wanted to make a series out of those questions because there's a lot that come up. Today I'm going to answer some of the general questions that I answer about selling your house. When I'm working with a seller, one of the most typical questions I get is how long is a listing contract going to last? The truth is there's not actually a specific time frame. They are negotiated between the listing agent and the seller. Typically, I'm going to ask for about a 6-month period of time because I want to make sure that the sellers I'm working with are committed to making sure that I can do everything possible to get their home sold. The truth is, if at any point in time we're not seeing eye to eye or we're not able to get the home sold in the way they want, I'll offer an easy out of that contract and mutually release it and let them go without any problems or any questions asked. The second question that comes up typically is, how much is the commission? Now, a lot of people offer lots of different commissions. There's no such thing as a standard rate. It's actually federally regulated that we are not allowed to set a standard. But how much you're paying an agent should not be the only question you ask. The percentage rate that you pay to a commission is not necessarily going to determine whether or not that agent is the right person for you. There's a lot of factors that go into getting your home sold, as well as getting it marketed and out to as many people as possible. So however much you're paying should be the last question you ask. You want to make sure that you're getting the right value, not just paying the lowest commission. Another question that comes up beyond the commission is, what kind of cost can I expect to pay as a seller? Now, this is going to vary from contract to contract, but typically the seller is going to be responsible for some of the updates to the title, paying some documentation preparation, as well as a half of the closing fee and making sure that the title is perfected before transferring it to a buyer. Now, that's not necessarily all of the costs that you're going to pay because many buyers are going to ask you to pay some of their closing costs as well. Ultimately, what you need to do is talk to your real estate professional when you're looking at an offer and break down all the costs associated with that offer because it's going to change based on any contract that you receive. Another question that I get frequently is, how do I cancel a contract? I'm in a contract right now with an agent that's not really doing what I want them to do, and I need to know how I can get out of that. Well, like I said earlier, if you're working with me and we're not seeing eye to eye, I'm not going to hold anybody in a contract that they want to get out of. It's a simple form that we do to release that contract. However, I'm not going to just release somebody just because the going gets a little tough. You need to make sure that you're having those conversations with your agent to make sure that they're actually doing the things that you expect of them, and then if they're not, maybe you can discuss how to move forward from there. But just getting out of a contract simply because you're not thinking things are going the way you expect them to isn't necessarily the best thing to do. Have that conversation and make sure that you understand where your agent's coming from, as well as set out your expectations of what they're going to do to make sure everybody's on the same page. One of the final questions I get real frequently is, hey, is now a great time to sell? Or hey, what's the market like? These are two questions that kind of go hand in hand because ultimately, when you're thinking of selling your home, you want to make sure that you're getting the most money in the shortest amount of time. Ultimately, that's what I want for you as well. But that question can be answered differently on a day-to-day basis or even based on the property that you own or the location of that property. You need to make sure that when you're talking to your real estate agent, the questions you ask are, what are the current market factors of my property that are going to be the most important to make sure that my home gets sold? Every single property is unique and is going to have different factors that are going to affect the value and how quickly it may or may not sell. These are just a few of the general questions that I get on a day-to-day basis when I'm helping people get their properties sold. As I mentioned last week, there's a link in the description on this video where you can go to the article where all of these and additional questions have been found. And be sure to like this video and share it with any of your friends who are thinking of selling a home this year.